What is up, guys? Lord Nick here, bringing you another One Piece related video. Guys, so we have been working on OPO7. So I have made a bit of a tweak to my OPO7 current list, and I say current list. I have multiple lists. I run a lot of different lists, and I didn't even save the tweak that I had made to said list. Um, but I have decided that I wanted to kind of keep along the lines of what I was originally running for OPO 6.5, EBO 1 meta. And I still felt that Sabo was a great added addition that I would play over a Gravity Blade at the moment. There's not a whole lot of need for bottom decking. Not to say that it is not relevant, as it is very relevant against, say, Black Yellow Luffy. And being able to bottom deck 2 Sabos for 7 Dawn, pretty efficient. It's a good way of dealing with him. Now, that being said, you don't always have to bottom deck both Sabos. Bottom decking one of the Sabos is efficient if you can then bottom deck the next one the next turn. So, what's the route we take for that? Well, a great option for that is actually Aramaki. And the reason I say you don't want to bottom deck both at the same time is not necessarily that bottom decking both at the same time is the wrong play. It feels good. It feels great. But with Gravity Blade, you are not developing any bodies. You are not developing a board state. You are not maintaining control of the game. Rebecca really needs to maintain control and board state. And so, what is the best option for dealing with a 9k leader? Well, an 8k blocker is pretty dang good when you're running 12 2ks. Because guess what? When he swings his 9 into you, maybe he swings 11 into you. If he swings 11 into you, you take it. But if he has a 9k leader, having a boss monster that can easily go to 11 without having to invest any Dawn is actually pretty relevant way of beating said person. On top of that, the turn he comes out, you remove one of the Sabos. The next turn on the next turn, if he does not develop a second Sabo, well, guess what? You just bottom deck the last Sabo, and you now are in a position to kill him. On top of that, if he swings with his leader first, you block. You don't block it. You block the 7k aces coming at you if he does that route. If he decides to leave cards in life, guess what? He has to counter out of it, or you're just going to take those cards and put them to the bottom of his deck. Honestly, this deck does really well into that list. So the one deck that we need the Gravity Blades in is not a deck that we really need the Gravity Blades for. We do well enough to beat that deck as is. Because Rebecca's weakness is having her cards removed repeatedly and having to keep putting them back. While she is strong at doing that, it is still very annoying. So in a deck that does not have that much removal, we actually kind of dominate them. On top of that, guys, the 8-drop Sabos, like I said, I valued them very greatly because they develop a body and remove 2 characters. So against Law, super relevant. Against the fact that Law is now adding in multiple 3-drops back into the list. A lot of the lists that I'm seeing are running the Shiraias at a 3 to 4 of, and the Zorojoros at a 2 to 3 of. Some of them even up to a 4. I think that's a little much. But if they are running that many 3-drops, guess what? Efficiency of this card just goes way up. You don't necessarily have to have a Dawn minus effect ready to go for this card to be relevant on removing 2 characters. Removing 2 characters and forcing him to have to consistently put out 2 characters a turn is very, very good for us. So, now, as for the other decks, we can match the tempo of a Moria deck, and guess what? Aramaki's actually really good into them. If we bottom deck all of their Hogbacks, as soon as they go through their Morias that they have, if any of them hit trash off of Mill, if any of them, die to us, he's just not getting them back anytime soon. And that's pretty good for us. 7-drop Luffy is a great finisher against those decks, and then another great finisher is Sabo. So ultimately, we have upped our top end to 9 characters. We have pretty solid board state otherwise, and then the deck is basically the same as the OPO 6.5 that I posted. So yeah, this is my preferred list. This is the list I've been testing all week. Mind you, I have to test into OPO 8 meta stuff, because I have to play in the Eastern one because they still haven't updated the sim to have OPO 7. We do have a couple other lists that I do want to kind of talk about. So this one here is not much of a change. This is exactly my OPO 6, the difference being that we just took out the gravity blades with sabos. This is an option if you really got used to playing what my OPO 6 list was. Mind you, I did not make a video for that list. I just posted that list on the end of one of my video at the comments of one of my videos, the behest of somebody in the comments. So I doubt you've really gotten used to it. So this was just a list that I was kind of testing for a while, and this was a list that I liked. I also ran a list that instead of having the Cavendishes and Hajrudins, we replaced those with 4 of Tempest Kicks, which is the original list that I posted to the guide to last week. That list is very good. That list is very consistent. That being said, I did find that not having anything for black yellow Luffy could be a problem if the meta shifted to where there's that many black yellow Luffys. And in my own current meta here, there's a lot of black yellow Luffys potentially going to be popping back up. So because of that, I just wanted to tech something back into dealing with them. And I decided at that point, because I was able to get my hands on 3 sabos, we'd test it with 3 sabos, 3 Aramakis, and it actually felt pretty good having that dichotomy of the options. And then our last list, guys, this beckons back to my Fortress build of Rebecca. And I very much like Fortress. I think Fortress is a lot of fun way to play. And what do I mean by Fortress? A lot of you might have not played during that time, may have not seen my list of the Fortress build. So the Fortress build for Rebecca was going to be built around the idea of 10-drop Kuzan and 8-drop Aramaki. You could up this to 3 Aramakis. You could cut the Cavendishes. This build is not polished or finished to the degree that it needs to be, mind you. But the way that Fortress Rebecca worked was less on the reliance of 4-drop Rebecca. 4-drop Rebecca was really there just to kind of cycle back our sabos back towards the late game. Moncheries was so that we don't mill out. Which it is still, to that premise, going to be working that way. So one of the options you can do, because you can drop the Cavendish because you don't need that much mid-game as much, you could drop the 2 Cavendishes, put in 1 10-drop Kuzan and 1 more Moncherie, just so that we have a consistent and accurate way of making sure that we always have a way of recycling cards. Because if you don't have a Moncherie in hand, you actually have no way of putting cards back to the bottom of your deck to stop you from doing that. Stop you from milling out. And this deck can mill out kind of fast between Orlumbus, Leader Ability, and Sabos. So, yeah, you need something like that, because this list does not run the Luffys. Now, in the old list, I also did not run any Colosseums, and if I did, I ran 1 or 2 of. The option is to go down to 2. If you drop the Cavendishes, you go down to 2. This opens up another slot. You can either put in a Tempest Kick, and the other option is that you can take out the 2 Cavendishes and just put in 2 Luffys. If you really are worried about milling out, that is another option. The great thing about Fortress is it is built around late game powerhousing, and it's all about just kind of surviving the early game. And once you get into the late game, it's very difficult for your opponent to deal with you because of the fact of once you have an Aramaki on board and a 10-drop Kuzan, your board state becomes pretty much you kill everything. You guarantee get rid of a 7 every turn if you want with the Aramaki. If you hit a Sabo after a Kuzan is played, your Sabo now gets rid of a 10-drop and an 8-drop. So basically everything is in death range with this. These 2 cards work super good together. And these 2 cards work super well together. And the biggest reason is that Aramaki, the turn that Kuzan comes out, helps you take out 2 characters, which is super relevant in a lot of games. So, yeah, this list is actually pretty fun and pretty competitively viable. But today we are going to play the list that I've been working on just for fun's sake. I like this list a lot. I might find a way of dropping in 2 10-drop Kuzans. It might just be that I drop a Luffy and 1 Colosseum. Maybe I drop the Kongun. Maybe I drop a Kongun Colosseum and I pop in 2 10-drop Kuzans. We would end up with so much top end that might be problematic, but we only have 15 non-counters in the deck, and we have so many 2Ks, we might still make it work. So be ready for that in the next couple weeks. Let's pop into a game here, just so that we have a game at the end of this video, so that it's not just completely me prattling and rambling about how much I love Rebecca. All right, we get our singular worst matchup out of any deck. It is Nami. I used to say Reiju was our worst matchup, but that's just because nobody in my locals were playing Nami anymore, because everybody kind of realized Nami's just not a fun deck to play into. We will keep this list, mainly because we can develop this. Man, I really like Aramaki in this matchup. I could really, you know what, we'll take the, oh, we can't take the Aramaki, duh, I'm an idiot. All right, we'll take the Sabo. I really wish I could have that Aramaki, though, because Aramaki actually helps a ton versus this deck. We will deploy, we will activate, we will take a Heroes, we will pass. So we don't have a lot of early pressure, which just sets Nami up for success. If Nami doesn't draw their characters early, though, we're in an okay spot. It does kind of require them to not draw their characters early, though. So this next turn is... So he just drew 2. Honestly, I think this is a Sabo setup turn, maybe? I mean, if I had 6 done... And can we get anything back here? We get back a 2k. So we could deploy this, get a Kyros, get back a 2k. That worth it? Yeah, probably. Alright, we'll deploy. We'll get back a 2k. We'll deploy Kyros. Choose no target. Puts us down to 6. That would have been a really nice card to have. We'll take the Rebecca. We'll pass. So this matchup is hard because we want to go late, and Nami does not allow us to do that. And it's not even that it doesn't allow us to do that from a, like, oh man, they're gonna just keep us on constant pressure like Law or anything like that. It just doesn't interact with us, and it stops us from attacking them, which is problematic for how our deck likes to function. We like attacking. So if they constantly say no on the attack, then, well, guess what? Then we're kind of screwed. Okay, we're kind of okay with how this is turning out at the moment, though. So we'll deploy, we'll trash, we'll do this. Do we have a Kyros in trash? We do not. We could play another Rebecca, which gets us a Brook. Do we get anything back from that? We can get the Sabo back again. We could play the Brook. I mean, the Brook's coming out either way. I think we deploy the Rebecca, get back the Bardo, deploy the Brook, KO this. Going to 6 doesn't do anything here, because just one event gets him out of it anyways. So, yeah, see, yeah. Going to 6 doesn't change anything. So here we just swing the 5, try to get a card out of their hand, and do this. He has so many cards in hand, but he hasn't played any character other than the one blocker, which we've now removed. This next turn is actually going to be a big swing turn. We're going to have to do multiple big swings at a time. We have plenty of 2Ks. We don't really need to develop that many more bodies. We're going to be at 9 Dawn, so we're going to probably put... it's kind of hard because none of our bodies are big bodies here. Alright, you can have a blocker. I don't really care. Alright, so with this, we're going to do 8. That leaves us with 6. Gives us a 5k swing with the Brook. We could develop a Sabo, which is relevant. It gives us another attacker, so we kind of need that. We're just not gonna. We're probably not gonna do too well. This is just not an ideal matchup, and there's just not a whole lot of ways for us to play into this deck super efficiently. Searcher, you attack 5, no targets. And yeah, giving them the ability to use these counters is problematic for us because this is how they're going to draw cards and such right now. But we kind of have to put the pressure on them right now, and them not developing bodies is kind of good for us. We would love to see an Aramaki this next turn. One Aramaki is super huge because if they put down their Searcher card, we can put their Searcher as the last card in their deck. Then we put some draw cards under it. Alright, end turn. So, this next turn, if we draw an Aramaki, great, ideal kind of situation for us to be in, especially because our Kongan's at the bottom here. You can have a Rebecca. Yeah, fine. Because we're going to either... If we don't get an Aramaki, we're playing a Sabo and just using our 5 Don to go. Oh. That's an interesting card to have. I guess it does draw you 2 cards, so... oh, we have a Luffy. We're gonna just play the Sabo. We're gonna get... Hajruden's not a bad play either. Because it is a big body. Get rid of you. We'll get rid of... it really doesn't matter who we get rid of here. We'll get rid of you. Back 8. I mean, he's just going to keep countering out. Like, there's not much we're going to be able to do. It's just a hope that we can kill him. Because... I mean, developing the Luffy might have been the play, because then we swing 10 into the Daw's Bones. But, I mean, that's iffish. It does give us the chance to put the Kong gun back, but we're still so far away from that that's probably not going to happen. This is basically a lost matchup. The way that you can make this matchup not as much of a loss is if you decide that your meta doesn't really require the Aramakis, I guess. What you can do is you could add in 2 6-drop Brooks, because it gives you a way of putting characters or cards back to the bottom of their deck. They do get to choose, but if you just recycle the Brook, you know, you play something on top of it, like a Rebecca, which kills it, you get it back, play it again. That's a route you can take that enables you to use the Brook on repeat. All right, so you placed your cards back. You're gonna use another card, and this guy's taking a very long time to decide what he wants to do. Okay, he just took it anyways. Another 8. I mean, this only requires a 2k out of it, or requires 3, but 3 is pretty easy with 2 Dawn. So, like I said, so yeah, 6-drop Brook is a route. Technically, 2-drop Viola is a route, but you need to be running a Gecko list, basically. And at that point, you're running a 1 of 2 cost tech just for this matchup. Now, that card does add value into more black decks as well, because putting cards back to the bottom of their deck can really mess up the flow of what they can do. Oddly enough, against a Lucci, it's actually a very relevant thing that you can do with it. Okay, so step vanilla 6. Nope. So this next turn is actually probably going to be Hajruden, just so that we can KO this with our Brook swing. We'll have 4 Dawn remaining, so it'll probably be like a 6 with Brook, 6 with Sabo. God, that's annoying. That ruins a lot of the play, but... I mean, we can swing the Hajruden into this thing. That might get the blocker out of the way. I think we're just doing 4 6s this turn. Oh man, the Daw's Bones. What do you add back? Rubber Band of Doom? Yeah. Alright. We could have... Damn it, we should have -4'd here. Oh well. So, we will swing a 6 with the Brook. AO him. You don't have a 6k swing anymore. Oh, nice. You chose the wrong person. It's probably going to be a 7. And then another 7. A 5. There's 19 cards left. These are pretty much all probably guaranteed triggers. But then again, he hasn't been playing a lot of his characters, so there is a chance that there's characters in here. I mean, he could just be hoarding all of them so that for late game there. I mean, he's 10 cards in hand. It's a crazy amount of cards for Nami to have in hand. So we're actually going to swing 6 and then a 6. Because it requires him to get rid of some of the cards out of this hand here if they're counters. Or block. Alright, trigger, draw your cards. Come on, buddy. We'll bottom deck my Brook, I guess. That would be annoying. Alright, no trigger. Another 6. These can't all be events, right? Like, these can't all be events. He has 15 cards left. He should be able to get there. Between 2 life and this. I mean, I've never seen a Nami hold this many cards in their hand, though. But maybe he's just bricking really bad. I don't know how this deck really bricks, to be honest. No. There's Kaya. I guess no early Kayas can be somewhat of a brick if you're just drawing all your events and your Kayas are just stuck in your bottom like 7 cards. Ooh. Okay. I think we're gonna do this to rest here. Make this a 7K swing. Pop that. Then it's an 8. An 8, 8, and a 7. Should hopefully be enough to win. We'll find out. Is 6 Dawn available? Maybe it won't be. Ugh, puts himself to 6. I think that's his last White Snake, though. 2, 3. Nah, he has 1 more White Snake somewhere. It's trigger again. Top 5, place him back in any order. And that's his last White Snake. So 2 White Snakes down. 7 needs that. 8. Kind of easy for him to get out of. He just needs a 2K. Then 9 cards. He has plenty of cards. Akaya gets him there. Or the plus card. Oh, wait, what's the plus card? The snake card? What's it called? Allows him to get Kaya back to his hand, and then it's just surviving this turn. This one. It does cost him 2, though. Eight. Ha! You gotta counter unless you want to take it. Huh? Oh, fuck me. I forgot that's even a card. Let's draw me a card, Sabo. He wins the game now, because he probably is. He's 6 cards. He just needs, what, a Kaya? A way to bounce Kaya, another Kaya. But he's only played 1 Kaya, so he's got to have them all. Yeah. Oh, I hate Nami. I hate Nami with such a passion. This deck is very unfun to play into. Especially as Rebecca. My laundry's done. You know what? We'll give you guys one more game. Hopefully we don't hit another Nami. If we do, you will not be seeing another game. The video will end. But as long as it's not another Nami, let's show you an actual game where you're playing against an opponent that plays the game and doesn't just sit there and play with themselves. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe we won't find another game. We'll sit here in this lobby for a little bit. I got a big drive ahead of me today, just FYI. So I'll be driving down to San Antonio, which is just south of me. It's only like 2 hours. Stepfather's birthday this weekend. My birthday happens to be a week from today. Just a fun little fact there. I'll be getting much older. You know, it's only 1 year, but still feel way old when you realize you've been out of high school for 10 years. Let's see if I actually get to play a Bonnie, because every time I try to play into one of them, they just leave because they don't want to play into Rebecca. It's kind of a bad draw, so we'll develop the character first. We'll take Heroes. We'll take 1 leg, pass. So, not ideal. We kind of want to see Coliseum early, especially against something like a Bonnie, who's just going to keep resting our characters. Kind of problematic because it's pretty good into Aramaki. Yeah, sure, we'll take a hit. Okay, that's not a bad play. Let's see. Do we have something we're getting back? Yes, we do. We're going to play. We're going to grab a Kyros. We're going to deploy a Kyros. We're going to pop this. That's perfectly fine by me. End turn. So, we're going to have multiple blockers up. I mean, they get to run Hody Jones as well, so, like, 3 blockers doesn't get out of this as easy. Unless I'm playing all 3 blockers in 1 turn, which is impossible. Well, it's not impossible with this deck. It's very difficult. It would be a Rebecca and 2 Bardos, which is also just not ideal blockers. We'll keep it 2K. A Rouge blocker. Alright, so we're at 6 here. We could play our Hajruden, which I think we're going to do. We're going to play Hajruden. He would be able to rest my blocker, which I'm just not going to allow him to do. I'd rather keep my blocker up, which is fine. We don't really have to do a lot of early attacks. Our late game is significantly stronger, so we just get to do that. Hajruden into Aramaki is going to be pretty good for us. We don't have a 2K. This is fine. This next turn, we're just going to swing 7 with Hajruden here. Ooh, what does that do? Gotcha. Well, you have 1 ability remaining. Attack. I gotta rest the Kyros. I don't care. We're gonna do this. Deploy. Get rid of this Kyros. So, like, here's the interesting thing. I'm getting rid of both of them, and he can keep it alive, which I think is stupid. This should not work that way, but it just does. On top of that, he's resting my Sabo somehow. What is resting my Sabo? Oh, he rests my character. That's cancer. That is straight cancer. I didn't realize. Yeah, this card's just insane. This card is just really good. Helps if I read cards, right? No block. Give me a card. All right, we got a Rebecca. 7. Sure. What you got? What you got? Rest, rest. So now, rested your active characters. Why is he still rested? What the hell? What's resting my character? Oh, he's locking me with the Bonnie. Got it. Got it. Okay. Bonnie's not a blocker, right? No. So killing this thing is probably the optimal play here. As much as I want to play the Aramaki. I'm going to swing 10. I need 2 2Ks to keep this boy alive. -4. All right. I like the state we're kind of in. Not ideal, but not terrible. 5 at me. No, you can have a 1K. That's fine. 6 at me. No, you can have a 2K. That's fine. Cool. Lock my dudes. It's not the end of the world. -4. -4. Get rid of you. Deploy you. Activate. Let's drop Coliseum because we don't really need it. Bottom you. Activate. Grab you. Pass turn. Now I can lock my leader with another 10-drop Dofi. That would be very annoying. I doubt he's going to do that. I think he's probably going to swing into me. I mean, he could try to keep blocking my characters and my leader now, which would be very annoying. But we have a board state that is threatening a lot now. I mean, he's kept this Sabo locked for ages now, which is very annoying. He's down to 5 cards. He's not getting a whole lot of card advantage. I'm not going to swing into him if I don't have to. You can go to 9 with 2Ks. But I think we just block here. And we give him the Sabo. I mean, he doesn't have the ability to drop a 10-drop. He can only drop one of these to rest one of my characters. Probably would be the Aramaki if he wants to rest anything. He can use his leader ability with 1 Dawn available to do this. This gets him back 2. Okay. No block, we take. Okay. Alright, so we're going to remove this. We're at 6 cards. We're going to activate this. Take the Rebecca. This card, bottom you. Let's have... $11 into 6. He's going to rest the Sabo, which is fine. We don't have anything for Orlumbus to be KOing, so we're going to play Rebecca. We're going to grab back a Sabo. We have no deploy. Play the Sabo over you. Apahash Rudin. We don't need another one. We need the 2Ks. We need the Rebecca. I don't want to get rid of the Mon Cherie, so we can just get the Rebecca back with this. And we'll attack 7 in the lead. So now we'll start taking him down some. We have plenty of blockers. He needs a Hody Jones to kind of win this. even with a Hody Jones, I think we have enough 2Ks right now that will be okay. Aramaki is going to get locked down, or he's going to get locked down, so Aramaki is just going to be a swing every turn now at this point. He might lock another blocker if we do that, so actually we probably swing with Hajrudin, get him to lock down their Aramaki so we can maintain blockers. You just swing 5. So you have, okay, you don't have the Dofi, so you're doing a Searcher, which just gives us a free swing to kill this. Nah, I want to hold on to my 2Ks, please. Oh, you rested the Sabo. That's an odd choice. Put Aramaki to the bottom. We'll put a Luffy to the bottom. We can take a Rebecca here. Yeah. Because, I mean, Rebecca gets us back a card. Goes back a Brook, no play. 9. End turn. Alright, so again, Hody puts himself in a solid position, not necessarily a winning position. Because he'll lock out both of these, and then he can swing the Hody and leader for 8 each, which currently we have 2. That's 9. That's also 9. Another Dofi. Okay. I mean, we've gotten into my end game. Yeah. We've gotten into the end game. He understands he's in a negative situation here, and my hand is just 2Ks. So yeah, that's it. I mean, Bonnie is a matchup that is grindy. It is annoying, but it is not necessarily favored for Bonnie. With this build, at least. I've tested this one. This is like the 3rd game into Bonnie. I could say into the Bonnie, it's not bad. You wouldn't know it's my 3rd game into the Bonnie because I don't remember what Hawkins does. But I think this is actually the first time I played into a Bonnie where I actually have a Hawkins land. Most of the time I've seen the Cavendishes, I've seen the Rouges, this new... I don't see the Resonante in the build as much as I'd seen. And yeah, the Stun Bonnie. Yeah, so this is not a terrible matchup. This video went pretty long, guys, but hopefully you found it insightful. Hopefully you found part of it enjoyable. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. And until then, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye, guys.